Some tried to swim, but they were wearing armor, carrying gold. The weight dragged them down. Spanish soldiers thrashed in the black water and sank screaming. Others tried to wade through. Some gaps were shallow enough, chest deep, but the Mexica had planted wooden stakes in the lake bed, sharpened points hidden just below the surface. Men impaled themselves trying to cross. From the canoes, Mexican warriors thrust spears upward at anyone in the water. They grabbed Spanish soldiers and pulled them into the canoes, dragging them away as captives. The causeway became a killing ground.
The Department of Homeland Security today says 70% of ICE arrests are criminal illegal aliens who have been charged or convicted of a crime in the United States.
Homeland Security, though, has not confirmed to Maine's Total Coverage how many people have been arrested since it launched that Operation Catch of the Day.
Political reporter Jackie Mundry joins us now in studio with what we do know here, Jackie.
Just last month, the Department of Homeland Security launched a worst of the worst webpage where ICE arrests are listed by state since the start of the Trump administration. This webpage shows 13 arrests, but does not appear to be updated since the department launched Operation Catch of the Day here yesterday. The department has not confirmed how many people have been arrested since the operation began, but shared with us some of the people who have been detained and what their crimes were, ranging from aggravated assault to operating under the influence. Some of the people arrested by ICE in Maine have been transported to the Plymouth County Correctional Facility in Massachusetts. I spoke to the booking department at the facility earlier today and asked if they've seen an increase in detainees since this operation began in Maine. They say it's hard to tell because they get so many detainees, including 20 last night and another 11 this morning, so they don't always know where they're coming from. Another Boston field office facility is the Cumberland County Jail. I spoke to Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce earlier today. He says he has not heard from any federal agents and he does not have any detainees at the jail. Again, it's unclear how many people have been arrested during this ICE operation at this time. We're back at City Hall tonight where I heard from Senator Angus King just a little while ago. He says he's concerned about the Trump administration's messaging on this ICE operation here in Maine, calling some of those arrested the, quote, worst of the worst criminals. King points to one of the detainees we heard about yesterday who has an operating under the influence charge. But King says we only heard about 4 of the detainees yesterday, and he has questions about the other 46 or more who have been detained here in Maine. He also says that these ICE operations aren't working here.
Under President Trump and Secretary Noem, we are no longer allowing criminal illegal aliens to terrorize American citizens. What I have been hearing is there is terrorizing of American citizens going on, but it's by ICE.
King says he's been in touch with the mayors of Portland, Lewiston, and Biddeford, but has not yet been in touch with any ICE officials.
The very latest from the Live Desk. That's where Maria Lisignoli is, following a boycott today from several Minnesota businesses. Maria?
Hundreds of businesses in the Twin Cities are planning to close today to protest ICE. Activists are calling for no work, no school, and no shopping, calling it a day of truth and freedom. Small business owners have called on elected leaders to act and limit ICE operations in the state. Owners of coffee shop Pillar Forum say they won't sell anything, but their doors will stay open to give people a place to come in from the cold.
From the beginning of when this issue started escalating here in Minneapolis, all of us here know how we feel about the matter and have been very vocal that we are against ICE and we are against them being in our spaces, and we're against sanctioned violence.
Now, a march is planned for this afternoon at 2 o'clock, where people will march from the Commons in Minneapolis to Target Center and then hold a rally inside the arena, which, as you know, is great news because it is so cold out there.
We talked about hypothermia and we talked about the risk of frostbite, and this is why we were taking people make these precautions right now if anyone is in fact going to be outside today. Maria Lisignoli from the Live Desk. Maria, thank you.
There should never be a federal agent in a medical exam room, but over the past few months while working in the hospital, I've had multiple ICE agents sitting in the room while I talk to my patients. Not outside the hospital, not in the hallway, in the room. My name's Dr. Joel, the Medical Mythbuster, and today let's talk about ICE, hospitals, and why this is becoming a public health issue. Twice in 1 week, I took care of patients transferred from ICE detention centers. In both times, ICE agents stayed in the room, listening, taking notes, even sometimes interjecting. That immediately raised concerns for me about privacy, consent, and the power dynamics at play, especially when language barriers were involved. So I looked into the law, but what I found wasn't clarity. There are clear protections for patient privacy under HIPAA. There are longstanding norms about hospitals being sensitive areas. But what I found is there's far less legal clarity when someone is already in federal custody and being given medical care. And ambiguity is where harm often lies. And unfortunately, this isn't isolated. Over the past few weeks, reporting out of Minnesota has documented ICE agents in hospitals, specifically in patient care areas. Doctors and nurses there are describing an environment where patients are delaying care, rationing medications, or avoiding the hospital altogether to avoid immigration enforcement. That's the moment this stops being a political debate and becomes a public health issue. Hospitals rely on trust. Patients have to be safe enough to feel like they can literally divulge some of the most vulnerable information of their life. When enforcement enters that space, it fundamentally changes that interaction. And it doesn't just impact undocumented patients, it impacts everyone when we start to have to wonder whether care comes with consequences. So when we talk about ICE, we can't just limit conversations to borders or detention centers. We have to ask, what happens when enforcement enters spaces that are meant for healing? What does that do to already eroding trust, to outcomes, to those who feel safe enough to seek care at all? This isn't just about immigration policy. It's about whether healthcare remains a place of care, whether it becomes another site of surveillance.
Job of enforcing our immigration laws without the chaos, but it actually requires the cooperation of state and local officials. If you look at blue cities and blue states, red cities and red states, you go to Austin, Texas, or Memphis, Tennessee. You go to the state of Texas, obviously a very red state, or the state of Tennessee, a very red state, but you've got blue cities within those states, you do not have this level of chaos. The reason why things have gotten so out of hand is because of failure of cooperation between the state and local authorities and what these guys are trying to do. We have a ton of resources, a ton of ICE agents in this city right now that I would rather us not have. I'd love to send those guys home. They're not even doing targeted immigration enforcement. They are trying to protect ICE officers who are doing immigration enforcement, because when a crowd surrounds them and these guys call 911, the local officials, the local cops have been told to stand down. So we have people here who aren't even doing immigration enforcement, they're doing force protection. So that if a rioter tries to ruin the life or assault an ICE officer, they're actually protected. Now, why doesn't it make more sense for the local cops to get involved in that situation? Why not just have the mayor or the local officials tell the police officers, you know what, if an ICE officer is being assaulted by a far-left agitator, you are invited, you should actually help him. That's what would work out in any normal situation, and that's what happens in nearly every jurisdiction, red or blue, in the United States of America. The reason it hasn't happened here is because the local authorities have been told, stand down, do not help ICE, promote violence, promote the agitation, but don't do anything to lower the temperature and lower the chaos. That's a problem.
11,888 murders, we've gotten most of them out. And then ICE gets beat up by stupid people from leadership in Minnesota. We actually are helping Minnesota so much, but they don't appreciate it. Most places do.
As a pastor, I'm telling you this. ICE in Minnesota is acting worse than the cartels in Mexico. In Mexico, cartels don't target kids or pregnant women.
And I know you were not there, but you did speak to Liam's mother, who we're told was actually home when ICE agents arrived. How is she doing tonight? What did she tell you about what happened?
Well, you know, I spoke with her a few times, and she was terrified. They were using this baby. The ICE agents were trying to use the baby for her to come out of her house. But the neighbors step up. Neighbors advised her not to do it. The neighbors were trying to get the baby or the 5-year-old to give it to her. And this is a pregnant woman with another 13 or 14-year-old boy as well.
She believes that they were trying to get her to come out. She didn't believe that they weren't going to take her as well.
No, absolutely. And I believe her because I've seen how they're acting here in Minneapolis. You know, I'm a pastor from Mexico, and I've seen how cartels work in Mexico. And just so you know, as a pastor, I'm telling you this, ICE in Minnesota is acting worse than the cartels in Mexico. In Mexico, cartels don't target kids or pregnant women. And ICE is just not respecting the law. The difference between ICE and cartels in Mexico is that ICE has immunity here. They killed Rene Nicole, and they're just doing horrible things. Another thing that is happening in Minnesota is that, they're fighting for religious freedom and stuff like that. Latino churches, 80% of them are closed. They're not having services. I used to have 500 members coming each week.
And why do you think they're not coming?
They're targeting Latino people, legal, undocumented, citizens, residents. They're arresting DACA recipients. They're arresting people with work permits. They're just, you know what it looks to me here? This looks like ethnic cleansing. That's what it looks like. This is racism in the name of patriotism. And that's coming from a pastor.
Video shows what appears to be federal agents detaining a corrections officer recruit in Portland, Maine. In the video, the man tells the agents he's coming from work and that he works for the government. The Cumberland County Sheriff confirmed the unidentified officer's detention during a press conference and says the recruit underwent a vigorous vetting and hiring process. The man is not a U.S. citizen, but his I-9 employment eligibility form indicated he was able to work in the U.S. until April 2029, according to the sheriff.
We covered our bases before we hired him. And it's me going out there saying that, you know what, I guess if you're not the card-carrying, U.S. citizen, then he must be illegal, because that's what they told me is he's illegal. And he's definitely not a criminal. So what part of him is illegal? I don't know. Every indication we found is that this was a squeaky clean individual that really hadn't done anything at all.
CNN has reached out to DHS for comment, but has not yet received a response. It is not immediately clear if the man is still in federal custody.
Sheriff Kevin Joyce is criticizing how ICE is operating. Last night, a Cumberland County correctional officer recruit was detained by ICE here on Fox Street. And as you can see next to me, there are now signs on poles along the street that say ICE was here.
I'm a correctional officer at work in Cumberland County. What's wrong?
This is video of the recruit being taken out of his car by ICE agents. Witnesses say the agents left the recruit's vehicle unlocked and running, and the sheriff didn't hold back.
This encounter, who said that in the 3 minutes they got out, they pulled a guy from the car, handcuffed him, put him in the car, they all took off, leaving his car with the windows down, the lights on, unsecure, and unoccupied. They left it right on the side of the street. Folks, that's Bush League policing.
Sheriff Joyce said the recruit, who he did not name, is an immigrant, and that he passed all background checks with a, quote, squeaky clean record without any disqualifying conduct or convictions. He also says the recruit had all the correct federal paperwork to work in Maine through April of 2029.
They said he was illegal.
A frustrated sheriff who says he did everything by the book now says he can't get answers about the officer, other than he's been charged with a, quote, ICE violation and is held in Boston.
We're being told one story, which is totally different than what's occurring or what occurred last night.
The Department of Homeland Security says the Trump administration has enhanced federal law enforcement training, writing in part, quote, "Our officers are the best of the best. Every single day, they put their lives on the line to arrest some of the worst criminals on the planet. 70% of illegal aliens arrested by ICE have criminal records." We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security about this particular arrest, but haven't heard back.
Praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Machakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, and wherever you may be. To you I say, Shalom, Yeshua, Shalom. This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. And that pretty much, that scripture there speaks volumes, which this is not dealing with this is obviously dealing with around the Babylonian time period. But you can utilize this scripture today. And as I was about to say, it speaks volumes when you speak about the 2/3. It says, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. And I believe there's a scripture in Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 33 or 31. Isaiah 31:1. Yep, Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them, destruction, to them that go down to Egypt for help. What Egypt? Because this is all the way in Isaiah. Egypt was way back when. Okay, so the modern day Egypt is speaking of America, Babylon the Great, the West, the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. So woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots because they are many, and horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And this is what our people are doing. Okay, even though the prophets are on the internet, you have those that are ignoring, or those that want to halfway believe. They'll believe that they're Israelites, but still think, oh, I got to take a stand. I got to be a part of this. I got to be a part of the protests, the marches, the, voicing a worldly opinion, okay? And not seeing things based on the scriptures. Or people who were so-called previously Hebrew Israelites, which you could never previously be an Israelite. You're born an Israelite. But they'll, talk about how they're no longer an Israelite, or they're mocking or scoffing at the prophets, and so on and so forth. And then there are those that just don't believe at all. Okay, and as I always say, these are the people, not just the 2/3, in general, all these heathens and the 2/3, but the message is to the 2/3. These are the ones who are going to constantly look towards Esau for answers and help, even though this is the man that's been used as the left hand, as the sword, okay, to jack you up, to do what he's doing to you. But you're still looking to him for answers, for help. Okay, you're still, doing your marching and your protesting and so on and so forth. Okay. I want to jump down to verse 3. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. And the scriptures say, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. The wicked heathens, mainly Esau, Edom, but also you wicked Israelites, because you want to join yourself with them. And so you will fail with Esau. Okay, because you refuse to hearken to the words of the Lord through the mouths of the prophets when you had an opportunity to, like it says in Amos chapter 8. Okay, there's going to be a famine of the word, and you're going to go from sea to sea, okay, wandering to and from the earth, looking for the answers, looking for a way out, looking for what to do, and you shall not find it, because the scriptures tell us that knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. Okay, the strength and salvation and fear of the Lord is treasure. But that time is now. Okay, scriptures tell you to make no tarrying, to turn to the Lord and put not off from day to day. They have this which I thought was interesting. I forget where it is. I think it was Maine or somewhere, but Operation Catch of the Day, where basically you have these ICE operatives who are detaining criminals that regular policemen should be detaining. Because when you look at what they said in the clip, these people should be detained by regular police, but you have ICE who's detaining these criminals under a guise of an operation called Catch of the Day. Okay, and there were some Southern Kingdom Israelites all right, in that. So as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us, because you seek not the Holy One of Israel, as we just read in Isaiah 31. They hunt our steps, verse 18, that we cannot go in our streets. And there's been businesses that that have lost business because of ICE, dealing with the Northern Kingdom. People are not showing up to work and stuff like that. People are starting to not go to these farmlands, things of that nature. But then also you have I think that was Minnesota, where people are protesting, where this is a different kind of protest, where they're not going to send their kids to school and they're not going to work in a protest against ICE. So everybody's just going to be, well, not even at home, everybody's going to be probably out there protesting with their children, not at work, not at school, but out protesting, against ICE. And really, and I looked it up because I couldn't find out their names. I forget what it was anyway. But ICE is like you remember the scene in 300 where Leonidas met up with his old friend, and he was like, "What is your profession?" He was like, "Sculptor, sir." And you, what's your profession? A blacksmith. And he says, Spartans, what is your profession? Okay, he says, see, old friend, I bought more soldiers than you did. But the point I'm making is, ICE is like those the guys that we're talking about. He was a sculptor, a blacksmith. He was this and that. All right, they're the guys who don't know what the hell they're doing, but they've been given a task, a mask, a gun, and immunity. Okay, so that gives them authority to do what they're doing. And we know a lot of these guys are wearing those masks because they're, racist Edomites who probably live right in your community somewhere, and they don't want to be identified when they're going to the grocery store, with their wife and kids to get groceries. Hey, you the guy that locked up my father, or whatever. All right, these people are high, and that's what Esau did back in the days. He always hid himself with a mask, but they're no different. Okay, hiding themselves in masks because they don't want to be identified. All right, but yeah, you have that going on. This one guy was talking about, I think it was a doctor or something. The guy with the glasses, dark-skinned guy with the glasses. He was saying that you have federal agents that are in the operation room. So I guess he was waiting, like they show you in the TV shows, or somebody's handcuffed to a hospital bed, waiting for them to wake up. Out of their, their comatose state or whatever, because maybe they got knocked cold and they haven't woken up yet. So you got ICE doing that. All right. Just so much going on. The most recent, really, it was not even recent, because I believe you can go back to like 7 months now, where ICE has been dealing with the so-called Native American tribes, but now it's sort of being blasted on the news, because if I'm correct, this is not fresh. It actually goes back, but it's come out as if it's fresh, as if it just started up. But what you can see they're playing with the people's emotions. Because don't we always mention this? My Green Goblin meme, I think it might be my phone. I got my tablet in my hand this time. I believe it might be my phone. But what the Green Goblin will always say, first we attack the heart. What is the heart? The heart is the mind. It's all right. So he couldn't necessarily just beat Spider-Man. So what would he do? He'd go after Mary Jane and Aunt May, and he'll do it at the same time, because he's got to make a choice. He can't choose. He can't say both at the same time and fight Goblin and whatever else. All right. So it messes with Spidey's mind. So it breaks his confidence. He's frustrated. He can't win. All right. Of course, it's a movie and a cartoon or whatever. So Spider-Man finds a way to win, but you get the point. In order for him to beat Spider-Man, he broke down his mind first, his heart, his lob, his mind first. And that's what Esau is doing with the people. He's breaking down he's doing the Green Goblin effect and breaking down the minds of the people. Okay, and he's finding a lot of avenues to do it. All right, that's why certain things are blasted in the news when, there's a lot of different topics that can be talked about, but there's certain things that are put on loudspeaker above other things. It says they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. I don't think we need the next verse. We can get it. Though our persecutors are swift than the eagles of the heaven, they pursued us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness. All right, but the key verse was verse 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets, and our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. All right, and all this does is drives. What's this dude's name? JD Vance. Because you had this situation that just happened about it was a 5-year-old that was used to knock on the door so they can detain the father. All right, and JD Vance spoke out about. I forget exactly what he said. I forget exactly what Trump said because he spoke out about it too. I believe I don't think it was that situation. It was another one. But Trump was calling the people of Minnesota. I think it's Minnesota stupid, or it was someplace. But about this situation that happened with ICE agents or whatever, and he called them stupid because they're refusing help. So he's saying that ICE is the help, and the people are refusing ICE. But the people are complaining about their cities are being disrupted. Okay, because it started off with saying criminals, right? Because remember they talked about the border. Oh, Mexicans coming over the border, people coming from here, Darien Gap, Florida, New York, California, all this stuff. Now all of a sudden, it's kind of transitioned. They still use the backdrop of criminals, okay, but they're arresting anybody now, okay. It doesn't even matter. Even if you are so-called illegal, they're arresting you. All right, they've been given the go-ahead to go into your homes without having a warrant. Okay, something the regular police can't even do. All right, and there was, as a matter of fact, there was a clip we put up the other day where this guy was at the door giving ICE a hard time. He's not going to. Those ICE operatives are not going to have to worry about that anymore. The dude gives a hard time where they're coming in. They probably going to regroup. Okay, and then they coming in. And you know what that's eventually going to lead to? Situations like that, people are going to get hurt, probably even killed, because which is what the elites want anyways. But these American citizens are not going to just keep putting up with this forever. But this is what they want. They want the rioting, the chaos to a high extreme level. They want this division to happen. You see? Because once bodies start dropping, especially like on each side, if it goes that far, then it'll give them a real rhyme and reason to really fully implement the Insurrection Act. So they got to keep, egging, these people on through ICE, man, to give them the response that they want, so they can give the reaction that they want to give. Okay. Talking about the red states, blue states, and all this kind of stuff. Well, these things are meant to be. These things are supposed to happen. All right. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. Okay. The scriptures speak about these things. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Jeremiah. Yeah, but Trump was calling those people stupid because they're refusing the help, so-called, which is ICE. All right. So yeah, you had that situation. Oh man, the very last clip we played, this guy was saying that he was a correction officer. ICE dogpiled on him, and he was supposed to be a corrections officer. So this goes to show you, like I said before, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just arresting people for whatever, all right? But it's really more so to achieve a desired effect. That's why they've pulled back or actually not pulled back, it's more like they've loosened the reins, okay, on these operatives, okay, so they can do more things, all right, because they're looking for a desired effect, man. And then ultimately Trump wants to bring in the Insurrection Act, but what do we always say? Timing is the key with these elites. Not Trump's not an elite, just making a point. Timing is the key, though. Jeremiah 30:4, and these are the words of Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. You so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. And as we mentioned, even you also call Native Americans, because there was a clip we played where it says they have the audacity to arrest those that are native to this land, and I forget, there was a lot of words there, so I can't remember exactly everything that was said. Yeah, okay. Do you not remember your history when they came and removed you off your land already in the first place? How you think they got acquired America? Okay, they removed you from the land that you were on already. So what more? So what's ICE? Because they did that by war, by slaughter, by death, by raping, by robbing, by killing, by tortures. You see? Slaving you. So what's ICE? Of course they're going to come after you. You know why? Because you're Israelites. But the gospel has gone out, and the gospel is still going out. And that's why the scriptures say, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, because the Lord is bringing heavy judgment to the things that he's bringing in this earth in within Jacob's trouble. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of what? Trembling, of fear, and not of peace. See, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. There's another scripture that says, healing the hurt of my people slightly, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. And see, this is what these hopeful people have. Like things are going to get normal, or there's going to be some kind of law that's going to be passed, or there's going to be some kind of stance that's going to be made. No, it's not, man. This is the end of an empire. Okay? Ask ye now, and see whether a man do travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Time of Jacob's trouble, the worst time period in all history. It says that in Daniel 12. Okay? And the he that's going to be saved out of it is the remnant. Only the remnant. No one else. The remnant of the nation of Israel, that is. No one else. Okay? I get a couple more. Doesn't have to be something super long. I might have to reset here. Can I do it like this? Nope. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to jump over there myself. So let me get this out the way. And what's I gonna type in? Oh yeah, almost forgot there. Yep, I just saw it. Yep, second edges. Okay. And I don't know why it started to do that. But anyways, second edges. Okay. I want 15. I was thinking if I wanted to get anything else while I was here. Maybe we'll get 9. Maybe we'll get 9. Just to hinge on those points there. Let me see here. Okay, I see what's happening here. Wait, no. Okay, this thing is yeah, there you go. So he says, the answer be then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. This is why you see the things happening. You know, you've been seeing videos go about this winter warning, which I had it yesterday in the news, but I didn't post it. There's also a heat warning in Australia, because they've been talking about the bushfires. So you got not only a winter warning over here, but then you got over there's a heat warning. So, you know, the Lord is really doing things. All right. These are our judgments. Well, I can't say exactly judgments just yet. You know, when lives are lost, that's when it's judgment. Zephaniah 3 and 8. 3 and 5. The just Lord will not do iniquity. Every morning do he bring his judgments to light, but the unjust knoweth no shame. Because every judgment of the Lord is just, even in death. Okay? And see, your family members can understand that. What does Scripture say? Let the dead bury the dead. Okay? But let's keep going. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, this is the same thing it says in Matthew and Luke. All right, when you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? Wars that are undergo, wars that are being threatened to undertake, and then you have proxy wars, wars and rumors of wars. Okay, pestilences, diseases, earthquakes, famines in diverse places, different places. All these are what? The beginning of sorrows, not happy, love, joy, like the churches are telling you. The beginning of sorrow says the same thing in Amos chapter 5. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? Because the day of the Lord is darkness and not bright. No brightness in it, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him. Okay, and he went into a house and leaned his hand on the wall and the serpent bit him. All right, evils and only evils shall come. Earthquakes and what? Uproars of the people. And this is what you see happening, man, all over the earth. But we're dealing with Babylon right now. Uproars of the people. And so they're running with now the protests that I mentioned, not taking their kids to school, not going to work, but are out protesting ICE. They're now utilizing that situation that just happened with the 5-year-old and this Renee Good chick as their backdrop to this new protest that they have going on. And things are, I could say violent. They're not violent like people are just dropping dead because you had deaths or whatever. But I'm talking about violent like you see what's happening. It's like this is civil war. Okay, this is the so-called American citizens versus these ICE agents, because that's exactly what Esau wants, so he can roll in the troops, and that'll be the Insurrection Act. Okay, and you're not going to be able to fight against the troops. There's only but so far the regular citizens can go fight against the troops, even if they do have a certain level of guns or whatever. You don't have what these troops have, man. So uproars of the people in the world. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. That's the Isaiah 46:10, declaring the end from the beginning, from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying that my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. These things were planned out even before he made Yahushua. Okay? For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, coming into fruition, which are what? The Lord's prophecies, which are the words of his mouth. And they shall not return unto him void. Isaiah 55. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And that's the different things that you see happening, whether it be something weather related, war related, or regular judgment related, whatever the case may be, anything that's happening. These are all his wonder and his powerful works. And these endings, where in the end times are his effects and signs happening through his prophecies and his judgments. Okay? And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith. The key thing, faith. But the works too, because it says, I think that's James 2, if I'm correct. It's either 1 or 2. But it says, even the devils will leave and tremble. But it also says that it says, show me your work show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my works. I'll show you my faith by my works, because you got to get hands on. All right, everybody plays a part in the body. It says, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them from the beginning. All right. Maybe I'll get a couple more. It says, then shall they, I didn't mean to click that though. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. That's you 2/3, man. Okay, so there's a lot of crying and moaning and groping about ICE, but ICE is low level, man. All right, it's about to get real. Okay, Esau is about to start slaughtering you Israelites, man, and it's been given into his hands to do so. He's that left hand. Okay, we're gonna jump over here and close it out to 15, what I really want to get in the first place, but that's okay. It goes right along with the lesson. 15:14. Woe, destructions to the world and them that dwell therein. For what? The sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Okay, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, weapons, guns. Okay, because at some point, I can't say for sure, but these people may start to bring their own. Actually, I saw a group of protesters that were hoodied down and have vests on and stuff like that. Okay, I don't know how far that went, because it didn't show much more than that, but yeah, at some point these people are going to stand up, and this is what the Civil War movie was about. Okay, predictive programming. These people are going to stand up and fight back, and there's going to be bodies dropping on either side, and that's where Trump is going to try to bring in those troops, if it doesn't happen before that, or a different way, or however the case may be. Okay, I can't say that exactly how it's going to happen, how it can play out. It's just simply a scenario. Okay, but some way or another he's going to pull the Insurrection Act, bring those troops in, martial law, and so on and so forth. But we'll see what the Lord has in store. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, and there shall be sedition among men. Okay, people standing up and saying they should do this, do that, and inciting other people to say, yeah, hell yeah, let's do this. All right, let's stand up and fight back, because we don't like this, we complain about that, money and housing and whatever else is going on. ICE is disrupting our neighborhoods. Whatever it is they can find and complain about against the government and the law enforcement, they're going to stand up and take matters into their own hands. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, because a part of this invasion is going to be those that take sides. That's why we keep talking about what? Division. All right, because the law enforcement versus the locals is one thing, but you have people that are with the law enforcement, just like you have people that are with the locals. So you're going to have division on just a local level. You know, the residents, the people, they're going to be divided against one another. Red and blue divides them against one another, and many other divisions. Okay, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, because no one's going to stop them. It's like, you know what, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. Okay, if that makes sense to you. All right. So the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able, because eventually those troops are going to roll in. All right, Insurrection Act, martial law, possibly even curfews. But just because of, even on another level, all right, from another angle, just, you know, all this death and slaughter and chaos of people against one another in the cities and in the states, you know, is going to be a dangerous travel, all right, for an individual. Like somebody got family in a red state and they're blue or whatever, you know, somebody who's pro-Trump trying to go visit some family who's anti-Trump, or vice versa. All right, it's not going to go well with them, you know, with chaos and destruction and people, you know, warring against one another. It's not going to go well with them, because they're going to find, somebody's probably going to find out, like, hey, you with this devil, and he did this and that, or you're not with him, and oh, you must be a demon too. And, you know, people have their own side and their own opinion, but you get the point there. And it says here, right here, it sums it up: for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. What does it say in 2 Ezra 8? Because of great pride, meaning miseries, shall be in the latter days, something like that, roughly paraphrasing. See, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but he shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. And now I'm thinking about, I actually want to find that in 8. If I can, we'll end it over there. I think it's up further. Just bear with me, I'm gonna try to find it. Here it is, right here. Yep, 2 Ezra 8 and 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. There you go, see? But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. And that was twice, I believe. Twice that was told to Ezra. Don't worry about how the unrighteous are going to be punished and when, how, and so on and so forth, but seek out those that are like you, those that fear you, that trust you, and that are looking for protection in these latter days, those that want to follow the ways and truths to the best of their ability. To seek out those that are like-minded, who have that same sound doctrine as you. All right, but this is what you see happening right now. Okay, uproars of the people, you know, division, man. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Lord willing, you will edify to next time. I'm gonna say shalom.
Video shows what appears to be federal agents detaining a corrections officer recruit in Portland, Maine. In the video, the man tells the agents he's coming from work and that he works for the government. The Cumberland County Sheriff confirmed the unidentified officer's detention during a press conference and says the recruit underwent a vigorous vetting and hiring process. The man is not a U.S. citizen, but his I-9 employment eligibility form indicated he was able to work in the U.S. until April 2029, according to the sheriff.
We covered our bases before we hired him. And it's me going out there saying that, you know what, I guess if you're not the card-carrying, you know, U.S. citizen, then he must be illegal, because that's what they told me, is he's illegal. And he's definitely not a criminal. So what part of him is illegal? I don't know. Every indication we found is that this was a squeaky clean individual that really hadn't done anything at all.
CNN has reached out to DHS for comment, but has not yet received a response. It is not immediately clear if the man is still in federal custody.
Sheriff Kevin Joyce is criticizing how ICE is operating. Last night, a Cumberland County correctional officer recruit was detained by ICE here on Fox Street. And as you can see next to me, there are now signs on poles along the street that say ICE was here.
I'm a correctional officer at work in Cumberland County. What's wrong?
This is video of the recruit being taken out of his car by ICE agents. Witnesses say the agents left the recruit's vehicle unlocked and running, and the sheriff didn't hold back.
This encounter who said that in the 3 minutes they got out, they pulled a guy from the car, handcuffed him, put him in the car, they all took off, leaving his car with the windows down, the lights on, unsecure, and unoccupied. They left it right on the side of the street. Folks, that's Bush League policing.
Sheriff Joyce said the recruit, who he did not name, is an immigrant, and that he passed all background checks with a, quote, squeaky clean record without any disqualifying conduct or convictions. He also says the recruit had all the correct federal paperwork to work in Maine through April of 2029.
They said he was illegal.
A frustrated sheriff who says he did everything by the book now says he can't get answers about the officer, other than he's been charged with a, quote, ICE violation and is held in Boston.
We're being told one story, which is totally different than what's occurring or what occurred last night.
The Department of Homeland Security says the Trump administration has enhanced federal law enforcement training, writing in part, quote, our officers are the best of the best. Every single day, they put their lives on the line to arrest some of the worst criminals on the planet. 70% of illegal aliens arrested by ICE have criminal records. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security about this particular arrest, but haven't heard back.